Hey, my friends and viewers who watch this YouTube channel, I am going to say some things that are provocative and controversial in this one that's going to upset you. Basically, is going to hurt your feelings. I don't want, and I prefer not to have targeted individuals, conspiracy theorists, and political dissidents that are Christians, Jews, and Muslims watching my YouTube channel. Don't watch it. If you do watch it at your own risk. And the risks are getting offended, having a mental breakdown, and just trouble in general. With all that stuff that come from you getting upset and having a mental breakdown because I offended your piece of shit gods you worship and your angels and whatever the fuck prophet and Messiah you worship, regardless if Muhammad or Jesus. I don't care about your feelings. I'm sick and tired of appeasing your feelings. You target individuals, conspiracy theorists, political dissidents, and woke as hell, or woke as shitty heaven activists who aren't acting on good stuff to act on. You're not fighting for freedom, you're fighting for more slavery because you're a dumbass. You're blinded by religion, dogma, and just personal biases in general, and I'm sick and tired of it. I'm not blinded by shit. I change like a snake, even though I'm not a evil predator like a snake is. I change my skin for the better of others, because the skin that I previously had was old, not working, and making me dysfunctional. I am what you would call a good serpent. I'm a wise serpent who knows his ways to change, because what you are currently is not a good thing to be at all. I prefer open-minded, and when I mean open-minded, I don't mean in the peaceful sense. I mean in the common sense, critical thinking sense, and that person's going to change their mind for their own security and liberty. They're willing to change their ways to make themselves stronger, intelligent, and overall better in life. Progress, not peace. I don't give a fuck about peace. Peace be damned. I don't give a shit about peace signs. Unless that peace sign has justice, or a justice symbol right beside it, I don't care. Peace without justice is tyranny. I don't care about any of that. That's the kind of motto that a totalitarian one world government and an authoritarian government in general would say. Give up your freedoms, your rights for security. Give up your freedom and rights for peace, because peace is freedom. It's basically what George Orwell's 1984 is about, that kind of stuff. I'm not going to sit here and say that hundreds of years from now we may not be fighting any wars, or make a prophecy like statement that hundreds of years from now or thousands of years there won't be no war and there will be peace. That crappy as non-scientific statement. If you watch Star Trek and Star Wars, this shit takes place in outer space, And there's still wars going on, especially in Star Wars. I mean, the word war is right in there. Star Wars, wars. And in Star Wars, the space age civilization in the galaxy, that galaxy that takes place in, have been going on for several millennia. I think even more than several millennia, like tens of thousands of years. And that means in the future, when we're a space age civilization coexisting with extraterrestrials, we'll still be fighting and killing somebody. Just may not be human, it'll be extraterrestrials and humans. It'll be like a galactic marquee or a galactic totalitarian, authoritarian government, tyrants like the Empire and Star Wars. We'll be fighting galactic terrorists that are both humans and extraterrestrials. There's just so many fucking things out there you have to destroy and kill. And this is off planet Earth. That makes absolute peace where nobody, nothing's killing each other unrealistic and a fantasy. I also want the viewers of my YouTube channel to have a some more scientific than religious mind. I want you to know shit like biology, math, 2 plus 2 equals 4, how gravity works, or just that gravity exists and that if you jump off a cliff, that will kill you. Don't do that. Don't jump off the cliff. And do shit like, don't start fires in droughts of summer because you'll cause wildfire and possibly burn your house down. Wear a seatbelt when you're in the car. Don't drink and drive. And put your health first before your religious beliefs, because if you want to stay alive and you don't want to go to jail, you will take yourself and your loved ones to the hospital when they need medical care. That's the kind of mentality I want my YouTube viewers to have, and I want them to know that they have to do all this in life or they will get in trouble and die. Or get in trouble and or die. I also want my YouTube channel viewers and friends to be Luciferians, pagans, Satanists, atheists, agnostic, or not, or practice Gnosticism, esoteric, and metaphysical spirituality, and know things like astrology, genetics, and what separation of church and state means, secularism. I want you guys to know all that. If you don't know all that, maybe you need to go and get yourself more educated, because that stuff is very important in life. And that stuff is especially important if you want to get the best out of my content, because I'm a very intelligent person and I do not fall for bullshit. I'm like a strict teacher who doesn't like to teach troubled and too difficult students that heads are like bricks and make me feel like I'm talking to a wall. Because I made this YouTube channel not just to talk about my targeted individual experiences and my experiences as a UFO and extraterrestrial researcher, but I also did this to educate you guys about government corruption topics about target individual stuff, about how evil Christianity, Judaism, and Islam is, about how the Abrahamic religions that I just mentioned worship evil extraterrestrials, and why you should not try to be like any person that has been worshipped and is a highly esteemed and venerated character in these books like the Bible, because if you do so, you're probably going to get sent to prison, or the military might kill your ass. Because, as an example, Moses would have been considered a terrorist and a baby killer. Also, he would be considered a traitor. That's because Moses was adopted by the Egyptian pharaoh. He was royalty, making him a prince. And he committed treason against the very people that raised him for the Jews that he didn't really know that much about. He basically committed treason against his own true family, which were the pharaohs that raised him, and the people that were related to him by blood that were absolute strangers and probably using him as a pawn to destroy the Egyptian pharaohs. Moses had everything given to him. If he didn't commit a treason against Egypt, he could have been a great Egyptian prince, and Egypt probably wouldn't have fell, or at least would have fell at a later date, and something better would have replaced Egypt a lot quicker in history. I'm going to tell you something. The Egyptians enslaved the Jews because the Jews, which were called the Hyksos, enslaved the Egyptians first. The Jews started it first. And that's because in Exodus of the Bible, when the Jews were tortured by the Jehovah Elohim extraterrestrials, because Jehovah is a member of the Elohim extraterrestrials, these extraterrestrials in their spaceship, they tortured Jews, and some of them gave some Jews more privileges and everything, and the Jews wound up getting themselves into Egypt because they were scattered there as a diaspora throughout the world by these evil extraterrestrials, using them for their diabolical and sinister agenda for an alien New World Order, which is an alien invasion of planet Earth. And the Jews went over to Egypt and they enslaved the Egyptians, and the Egyptians, especially the pharaohs, fought back. And Moses in the Bible, he should have known this, because of how powerful he was. If he didn't, he was just a poor pawn in the Elohims. These evil extraterrestrials that live high. Zechariah Ascension, but Zechariah Ascension calls it the Anunnaki because the ancient Sumerians called them the Anunnaki. These are some evil extraterrestrials, okay? Just telling you right now. They wanted the Jews to do that to Egypt because Egypt was working with good extraterrestrials, which is what those anthropomorphic Egyptian gods were. Well, some of them. And the Jews, their evil extraterrestrial gods, were fighting the good extraterrestrial gods of ancient Egypt that helped the Egyptians set that stuff up. And Moses was being manipulated by these evil extraterrestrials. And he probably wasn't called Moses by the Egyptians and by most of the people around him. That's a translation problem, and this was ancient times. And what the God of the Bible, which was the evil extraterrestrial, not the true creator of the universe. The universe is the true creator, and it's not a man, it's not a woman, it doesn't have a vagina, dick, it's not a humanoid being at all. What the God of the Bible did to murder all those Egyptian babies, the firstborn of Egypt, that's baby murder. If you try to do what the God of the Bible did to your enemies, you would be executed for child murder and for being serial killing babies if you did that. You don't have the right to repeat and do everything that the God of the Bible or any God does, especially when it's a crime. That's an atrocity. Don't go out there and murder, steal from people. Don't do any crime at all to somebody because you're trying to copy off your God that you worship. This is why I don't like Jews, Christians, and Muslims, because that's what they do. They try to copy the atrocities and think that they're all glorious and powerful along with holy and righteous to do them when they're just narcissistic, chauvinistic, and mentally ill criminals. That's all they are. And I don't want any of that karma, any of that fucking shit being associated with my YouTube channel, because some of you decide, or some of you already are, those types of mentally ill or criminally insane Christians, Jews, and Muslims who think you have the divine right, authority to murder innocent, helpless people and to do any crime against innocent, helpless people because your religion tells you to do so. I don't want any of that shit. You're not going to put your dogmatic, dog shit in this YouTube channel. You're not going to get me in trouble. You're not going to get my fellow followers in trouble at all. I'm getting sick of these theocratic, fascist, dogmatic, religious nut jobs ruining my community, the target individual community, and my other communities like the UFO and extraterrestrial communities, alongside the conspiracy, the government conspiracy and corruption, research and activism communities. I do not support Israel, and I do not give into the notion that most folks give into, which is that the Nazis are responsible for the deep state and the shadow government for all evil in the world, and demonizing the good white Germans, the good Germans, and white people in general. Because if you look down in history with an objective lens, using scientific evidence such as forensic evidence, is always, mostly always going to be a Jew or a Muslim alongside a Christian doing it. It's usually Jews, Christians, and Muslims that do the most horrid atrocities in all human history. This is Zionism, and this is also the Muslim Catholic, the Islam Catholic, fighting for supremacy over the world domination. Zionists, Jews, and Christians fight against Muslims and heretical blasphemer Christians over the fate of the world. And then people like me that are Luciferians, pagans, we're trying to fight against Judaism, Christianity, and Islam because they're the big, bad, evil Trinity. I call them the Trinity of spiritual tyranny because that's what those religions are. Paganism, Luciferianism, Satanism, and atheism is about freeing yourself from religious and spiritual bondage and not having your life being dictated by a pope or priest and not being dictated by an evil extraterrestrial that thinks it has the right to own you, that people call God or gods or angels. That's what our religions are about. We're about saving yourself from religious tyranny, spiritual tyranny, and that in combination with government tyranny, the tyranny of man, of humanity, and extraterrestrial tyranny, which is a combination of both spiritual tyranny and government tyranny, because these extraterrestrials are fucking with people's spirituality, true spirituality, fucking around with their minds, fucking around with their morals and their humanity and shit like that. These extraterrestrials that people worship think they have the right to do all the evil that they have been doing to us humans for hundreds of thousands of years, based on Zechariah Sitchin's writings, Jordan Maxwell stuff, and Cliff High stuff, Charlie Giuliani, as well as what Patty Brazard, Drake Bailey, and Tanah from the Silveration talks about. I hope Tanah is alright because she hasn't been on anywhere talking about what's going on in the astral and spiritual realms. A lot of the people I've been following and give me a lot of good information. They haven't been on for like months to even years. I hope nothing bad happened to them, but I think that probably is the case. Patty Brazard, I think she just has money problems and she has to move out of her friend's place because they had a big fight and a big disagreement about a lot of stuff. And these are the type of people you should look up and you should support because they're trying to save us from evil extraterrestrials and the evil governments that are in control of the world that are human, extraterrestrial hybrid led. And these human extraterrestrial hybrids are the most fucked up individuals you can think about. I'm not speciesist or racist, and I don't mind having extraterrestrials be my friends and human extraterrestrial hybrids be my friends, and actually have a fetish for some extraterrestrials like the Vulcans from Star Trek and the real life feline Lyrans. But these human extraterrestrial hybrids of these evil extraterrestrials, mainly like the reptilians, gray aliens, they're real fucked up. They're monsters. But not only are they monsters, they're brown down monsters. They like a broken killing machine that's just a sad story. Just a very fucked up individual and a fucked up life form. They're a piece of work. And that's why we live in a world that is a fucked up piece of work, because these fucked up piece of work run the world. I'm just getting sick and tired of it. I'm just sick and tired of us humans, if I am actual human, because what Patty Brazard said is that 75% of the world population on planet Earth aren't actual human beings, Homo sapiens sapiens, and that they have DNA from too much different extraterrestrial life forms and mutations that they're not even considered human anymore. I don't know if I'm considered human anymore. I guess I am more human than most folks. But I don't know for certain, because I never got myself DNA tested to see how human I actually am. All I know is that I have the Reese's Monkeys blood in me that Patty Brazard said makes you a native life form to this planet. It makes you a bona fide Homo sapien. But I'm wondering where the A comes from, because I'm A positive blood type. Wonder where that fuck that comes from. And the weird thing is that I have a lot of O negative phenotypes. I have a lot of characteristics and traits that people with O blood and O negative and O positive blood have. And I'm wondering if I have a lot of that side to me. And it probably has to do with my white blood and my Indo-European blood and my Jewish blood, because I'm Ashkenazi. And I'm not actual Jewish. I don't like Jews. I don't like that side of my lineage. I think Jews are disgusting people. They worship an evil dictator, Jehovah. They worship the evil Elohim. They have a slave mentality. They also have a slave master mentality, and they don't believe in freedom. Jews don't believe in freedom. Germans actually believe in freedom more than Jews do. I'm just going to tell you right now. That means if you are a patriotic American and you had only two decisions to make, two choices, and one of them was either go and live in Israel or go live in Nazi Germany, I'm going to tell you right now, I am a patriotic American, and I would go and live in Nazi Germany. I wouldn't want to live in Israel. Israel's a fucking shithole. At least Nazi Germany had nice buildings. They were more modern, and the Nazis used science rather than religion to run a country. And science doesn't make a person a tyrant. Religion does. The Germans knew this, too. Germans weren't fucking stupid. The Nazis knew this. And that's why they hated the Jews. They hated the Jews because they were fucking tyrants to them and to other European countries. And what they were doing was a revolution against the Jews, even if they had to do some really inhuman, indecent, and morally gray shit to the Jews to do so. But when somebody's your enemy, you really shouldn't care about what you do to them. You just shouldn't. You think that the revolutionaries that made our country, United States of America, the Revolutionary War, cared about how they treated the British regulars? The British? Hell no. We did some real fucked up shit to the British when we rebelled against them, and that's what the Nazis did to the Jews. Jews were their fucking British regulars were their fucking tyrants that they had to rebel against. Adolf Hitler was just trying to be like a more edgy and more hardcore George Washington for the German people. That's all Adolf Hitler was. And a revolutionary and a person that cares about their country fighting against bad guys and against a group of people that have proven themselves time and time again just to be a burden and a sack of shit to their country. That person shouldn't care about treating those people with decency because they're indecent incarnate. They don't treat them with decency, so why should they? And also it comes down to survival of the fittest. And this is what white people, Germans, and most non-Jewish, Gentile, Goyim know. Because we people who are not Jewish and who hate Jews, you don't have to be a German or a white person. You don't have to have the same color skin as me and blue eyes like I do. Because I am German by descent as well. I'm mostly Indo-European as well. But I'm also Native American, and Native Americans hate Jews too. They hate Jews for some reason. Nazis hate Jews because the Jews are fucking tyrants and they're fucking parasites. They're thugs and they act like shit to people. Because their religion, the Torah and the Talmud, tells them. Their books, the Torah and the Talmud tells them that they have the right to enslave and murder Gentiles, Goyim. And that's why they shouldn't be treated real well. You should be wary of what a Jew will do to you, because that's what their religion tells them that they can do to you, is to do some real horrible shit. My Native American ancestors, they have common sense critical thinking skills. They also worship Mother Nature and knew natural law all too well. And they know, and they knew that the Jews were, they were a problem. Yeah. And they're also sick and tired of the Holocaust in Nazi Germany being taught in schools, but not enough about the genocide of them Native Americans, which there's hardly any Native Americans, at least pure-blood Native Americans left. And there isn't authentic, original Native American spirituality left either. But the Jews, they're bitching about the Holocaust. Yeah, there's way more Jews, and at least there's their religion intact and spirituality intact. Their worldview gets preserved, but most of the worldview and spiritual practices of indigenous Native Americans, of the people that were living here in the Americas for thousands to millions of years, it is hardly intact. I'd be saying people need to kiss my Native American ancestors' asses than kiss the Jews' ass. And the Native Americans have more right to be tribal than the Jews of Israel do. The Jews of Israel, they're from the Khazarian Empire, from the Kazakh, that right there, the Khazarian Empire. They're Khazarians, they're not even true Jews, true Semites. Genetic testing tells this. They look like Adolf Hitler's Aryan stereotype with the blonde hair and blue eyes. Many Jews are also British by descent because the British allowed and even used the Jews to make Israel in order for them to keep tabs and have power over the Middle East. And a lot of British people went over there and lived in Israel because the weather was nice and because they could set up a power consolidation in the Middle East through Israel. And that's why a lot of Jews don't actually look like true Jews, because the true Jews, if you watch a lot of movies with Jesus Christ, in it, Jesus had brown eyes and brown hair, dark brown eyes and dark brown hair. And he had a swarthy tan skin. And that's because that's what the true Jews looked like. They were swarthy to tan people, and they even had the olive skin that the Egyptians had. That's what they looked like. They weren't white as hell. They weren't white as the snow skin. They didn't look like that. And the Jews had curly hair as well, because the Jews also had some African blood in them. And the sun in the Middle East is just as hot as the sun in the Sahara and Savannah Desert, and even hotter in some areas than the African deserts. And if you look at most of the places around the equator, most people that live around the equator that are indigenous to those places and indigenous to deserts in general tend to have dark skin, and you know why? Because the melanin protects their skin and their body from being torched to death by the sun. It's a self-defense mechanism from solar radiation. It's like body armor, basically. Essentially body armor. A black person's skin is like shungite. It's natural buckyballs, natural graphene oxide, black carbon. And I think that black people, their melanin in their skin is made out of carbon, that is carbon C60, and that they actually have natural buckyballs in their skin. And that's probably why Native Americans and African Americans are so incredibly healthy. They live longer, and they tend to get less sick from sun exposure. They could sit out there in the sun for hours and not burn up to death. Yeah, having black skin is a cool thing. Black is a very cool thing. And the original Jews in Israel were dark-skinned people. They look like my Native American ancestors. They look a little bit like Africans. And when I see Benjamin Netanyahu and these Barbie bitches with the blonde hair and blue eye in Israel saying they're true Jews, I say they're full of fucking shit. It's basically like Korra from the Avatar, with that meme saying, where that thug says he's a Water Tribe member, and Korra says, "Why are you white?" Well, person who, like Benjamin Netanyahu, said, "I'm Jewish," and I say, "Then why are you white?" Yeah, because the true Jews were swarthy. Asshole. And that will hurt your feelings. A lot of you white supremacists, fascists, neo-Nazis, Zionists, white pride bull, and Christian Jewish bull, to know that you don't even have no fucking right biologically to go to Israel and live there, because your skin is not the true color of the true Jew, therefore you don't have the genetics of a true Jew in you. Because if you did, you would be darker. Way darker. And I am a free Palestine, pro-Palestine person. Palestinians actually are Jews. They're native Mediterraneans. This is what I call Mesopotamians. This is what I call true Jews, true Semites that have the inalienable right and should live in Israel and the Middle East in general. I call them native or indigenous Mesopotamians. The Palestinians are indigenous to that land. They've been living on that land for hundreds of thousands of years to tens of thousands of years. And the white Jews that went to Israel after World War II, they have been only living in Israel for like a few decades or several decades. Yeah, the Palestinians, they're older, they've been living there for a longer time, and they actually do have Semitic blood in them, and they actually do like the actual genotype and phenotype of what a true Jew looked like back then. Therefore, the Palestinians have more rights to that land than the white Jews of Israel. I also don't like it when our country's military wastes their time doing war crimes and supporting a lie, which is the state of Israel. And what the state of Israel is, what that entire white Jews and that white Jewish state is a violation of natural law. Because natural law is the true law of God, not the Ten Commandments of the Bible. No. Natural law is God's law, the true God that created all of us, that created everything's law. And the true God that created us all is the entire universe itself. If you don't know what natural law is, go look up Mark Passio's content. There's an 8-hour-long documentary. An 8-hour-long video where he discusses what natural law is. He educates you what natural law is. And also you can look up the 7 Hermetic principles, which are the 7 laws of natural law. Or the 7 rules or principles of natural law. Go look that stuff up. That stuff is the true law of the true God, which is our universe and all the galaxies, solar systems, stars and moons with planets in it. My mind hackers, in my head, the mind hackers are what I call my handlers, perps that are torturing me with the V2K, survectal empathy, Havana syndrome technologies, also known as psychotronic technology and electronic harassment. They told me I belong in a movie. This is not a fucking movie, perps. And this is not a fucking movie. This is real shit. Mark Passio is a real man. What on earth is happening is real. Everything he talks about is real. Hermetic principles are real. Natural law is real. That's real. That shit's real. It's an objective fact that is all real. And these motherfuckers that may want to make me think that shit I'm talking about is sensational or fictional. Fuck off. Fuck off. I want to tell you some things with my tablet now. Yeah, it was a natural law seminar. He's got a documentary, Mark Passio and the Science of Natural Law documentary. That one right there. Look at that. He's got an 8-hour long video. That's an entire seminar about that stuff. And the Jews in Israel, they don't care about natural law. They are evil, and many of them in Israel know this. Christianity, Judaism, and Islam do not obey natural law. They do not do that. Everything they do goes against natural law. And their religions are nothing more than a fucking opinion / delusional fairy tale of how the world works and how it is. That's all their religions are. It's no different than Hansel and Gretel, Santa Claus, and shit like that.
We've called you together to inform you.
And when I see you, my fellow target individuals, patriotic Americans, and conspiracy theorists, being Christians, Jews, and Muslims, I say you're a fucktard. You're fucked up in your head. You're being tortured by the government, and you know how evil your government is, but you won't confront your religion being a sack of crap that it is. This is why I also don't want Jews, Christians, and Muslims looking at my YouTube channel unless they're brave enough and have the dangerous mind enough, dangerous to their religion, to risk getting a mental breakdown because I'm talking bad and back to your religion and to your worldview, which is incorrect because it violates natural law. Your religions are the first woke ideology in politics in the world, by the way. Do you want to know where woke come from? That word woke? It comes from Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. They're the most woke and grow broke religions in the world. And that's why the world is woke and broke, and it's morally bankrupt. The world's morally bankrupt because of what these religions have done. These sack of crap opinions have done to the world. In natural law, you need to learn when Mark Passio talks about the trivia method. Or better yet, you need to look the scientific method up, because the scientific method and the trivia method are about the same. Go look up the scientific method. That will teach you how to really see the world for how it really is. If you think you're fucking manly and you're patriotic and shit, and you have the red pill or the harder black pill of how reality works, that you took the right medicine because you're a woman-hating, fascist, far-right, bad shit lunatic, you're wrong, you man. That is a Christianitard, or Jewitard, or Zionitard. You're still woke. You're still asleep. You're still sheep. You're still Neo in the Matrix. If you want to understand how the world actually works, get out of your fucking Bibles and get out of your fucking manly egotism, narcissism, and chauvinism, and go look at the scientific method. Go look at a biology book or medicine book, and that'll teach you how the world works. Also, you should go and look up how computers work. Be like an auto mechanic. Go out and fix cars. Go out and do something practical with yourself than being a self-loathing, woman-hating, science-hating, and also hating over people that don't look like you because they have different color skin kind of person. Science and math and being a detective and following the money, that's where you're going to get the true red pill and the true black pills in the world. And you're going to be blown away. Your mind's going to be blown by what you uncover in that little rabbit hole. That you think is little, but is actually a big ass bottomless abyss into all the disturbing, horrific things that happen in the world. You're going to go right straight down to nightmare land. That will make you feel very manly going in that perilous dungeon and fighting all those monsters. Because I'm just sick and tired of these white Christian men thinking that they're hard. They're not fucking hard. Their religion is the most weakest pile of shit in the world. For many reasons. Jesus Christ says, love thy enemy. The modern Christianity tells you to love people that treat you like shit. Also, modern day ideologies in general teach you to be a subservient simp to your government and to your religions, men. And then it teaches you to let people be a cuck. To be a cuck, you know, not just in a sexual way, but in a spiritual way. Your governments have more respect from your women and from other men, even your friends and brothers, than those people in your life do of you. And that says a lot. Also, your women in your lives and your most closest friends, you men, they respect their religion more than they respect you. They're so brainwashed that they are thinking about having sex with Jesus when they get to heaven or an angel, rather than having sex with you. And that they only get into a relationship with you because of their religious beliefs, because they are waiting for a moment to put you in a cucked situation up in heaven. Yeah. Christian women don't care about their men, they care about Jesus and those angels. That's what they care about. You're worshiping evil God that is putting you in a cuck situation. That's unmanly. That's unpatriotic. That just makes you a beta male and makes you a slave, a simp pile of trash. You want a woman to respect you, you have to be her God. And you have to make her feel like a goddess. And you have to prompt her up to be a goddess. You have to be her pimp. But instead of pimping her out for sex, you have to pimp her out for power. That's how a woman's going to respect you. Give her money and give her some power. Give her some agency, and a woman will be yours forever. That's how men should be with their women. You have to be able to give a woman what she has a right to have in life. And you also have to not be a self-loving person and not serve a God and not serve a government. You are a God as a man. You don't need to worship anybody. You don't need to be a slave or a simp to anybody but yourself. You're your own fucking master. The only one that has any responsibility for what goes on in your life is you, the man. And that's how things are. And if you want to be a real manly man and be your own God, you have to show bravery, ambition, intelligence, strength, empathy, because you need to understand how people feel in order for you to understand how you interact with them. And also, you need to be a hero. Everybody likes a hero. If you're a hero like Captain America, you're a hero like George Washington, or what this guy Mark Passio. If you do everything that these men do, or do things that David Icke and Alex Jones do, you are set up for glory in life. You'll be the most manliest motherfucker around. And by the way, true conspiracy theorists that question everything, religion, government, extraterrestrials, whatever, they're the most manliest motherfuckers. They're called Sigma males. And I want Sigma males, because I'm a Sigma female watching my YouTube channel. I want you Sigma males out there. I want you watching my shit. I have respect for a Sigma male. I have respect for a man who's cynical and skeptical about everything around him. That is a sign of a true genius, true mastermind, and a true, absolute manly man. You, my country's men, need to be like this. This is who you need to be like, more like. You need to be like Kratos from God of War. You need to be like a God of War. That's the most manliest thing a man can be, is to be a deity of conflict. You need to be able to kick ass and take names when you have to. And the best way to do it is not to kill people with guns. The best way to do it is to just tell people the truth and to speak logic with people and just discipline people with your tongue. And also, here's another manly man you should be like. This is who you should be like. My country's patriotic American men who are conspiracy theorists and target individuals. You need to be more like Spock. You need to think in terms of logic. You need to adopt the Vulcan way of life. I've done this myself and it has helped me tremendously. I adopted the Vulcan way of life about logic and intelligence and common sense. You should be like him. The most manliest thing is to see through the bullshit of life and to be very logical about everything in life, be very rational about everything in life, and to also be very intelligent. That's a manly thing you should be, my patriotic American men. Be like this guy. And live long and prosper. Good luck, because life isn't always logical. Even if logic itself makes life easier. and my friends and viewers who aren't fucking pussies and aren't simps. In other words, that are along the lines of sheeple and woke, who actually understand how the world works, and you think that you're not more awakened than the actual God, which is the universe and natural law is, to think you know better than gravity and math does. You know, are actually patriotic Americans that are secular and have common sense and everything like that. I'll tell you, have a happy 4th of July. Have a happy 4th of July, my fellow Americans who watch my YouTube channel. Happy birthday, my country, United States of America. And I hope we get through all this bullshit that is challenging us and making life worse than death. Happy 4th of July, and have a good night. Talk to you later. Take care.